Page 121, Minuet in G major by Haydn. At least part of the Minuet. So it's a piece that you can play. Solo repertoire, yay team, okay. I'm going to go through the process I use for learning a piece of music, and I'll see what I end up with. I look it over, I see it's 4 lines long. Now it's actually longer than that because of the repeats, but it's 4 lines of music to learn. Maybe less than that if it's repetitious. Sometimes a piece is kind of repetitious, and so it's really less than that to learn, but 4 lines, okay. Treble and bass clefs to start. 1 sharp in the key signature. I'll look at the end, and the end at the bottom is here. I figure it's in G major, so make sure you can do the scales for G major and E minor, because that has 1 sharp, and the arpeggios too. I'll just well do them. Okay. And 3/4 time signature. I'm going to take it 1 hand at a time to make sure I got a finger. I want to try and connect everything with the fingers if I can. Now, not everybody does that, but that's how I do it. That's how I was taught to do it in college, and that's how I teach my students to do it. We have a pickup beat, right hand. They want here. I'm going to try their fingering first, see if it works. 3, 1, and I want to connect everything. 1. Now measure 4. It's here. They want a 2. If your hands are too small for that, you can use 3. Here for the first one, and then 2. Here. I don't know how big your hands are, so. And then 2. We're taking advantage of the repeated notes to change the hand position. Then here. And then here. That's good. These parallel thirds, that's one of the more difficult things to do on piano. So if you can get the idea, just dropping the hands down in here. Try to get the notes down at the same time. I don't, but maybe you can. If one note is always first, like me, that middle note's first, then focus on the other note. Try and get it down, and just most of the time that'll straighten it out. Yeah. They need to go down together at the same time, if possible. 3rd line. Now measure 10. I would prefer to use a 4th finger on the B, because that's the chord, and that's the fingering for the chord. However, in this case, I need 4th finger on the C coming up, so the 3rd finger works better. So we adjust our fingering for the chords and the scales as we need to on what the piece needs. So here it's 3. And on these repeated C's, if it'll help you, then put 5th finger on the last one. This way you're a little closer to that note, because if you can't reach that, then 5th finger works better, since they're repeated note. Now again, 3rd finger, because I prefer 4th finger on that, but I'm going to use 3rd because I need 4th. Reach up, 1, 2, and then triplet, 1 and a 2, and then what 5th finger. Now, there's nothing wrong with the fingering in the book. I just find it a little awkward, those last 2 measures, to go from the D to the triplet 5. Maybe you can do it. I just don't think it's necessary. Since we got to cross over the thumb anyway later on here, then I'll just do it here. So I'm going to stay here. So the last 3 measures, I'm stand here, cross over. 3. So 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. That's what I would suggest. Now, some teacher would say, no, use the fingering in the book. Don't be changing stuff. I strongly disagree with that. Unless it's an etude and the fingering is part of the lesson, and this is not an etude. So I would do it that way. Now, one little problem with ending on a thumb is when you repeat, I need thumb again. I'd rather not. You can get away with it because it's a new phrase. You're going to lift up and move anyway. I'd rather not. So what I'm going to do is after I play that G, the last note at the bottom, I play it with thumb, I'm going to put 2nd finger on it. This way my thumb is ready. Now if you don't want to reach that far, put 3rd finger on it. Doesn't matter which finger you put on it, as long as you can reach the D, pick up to measure 9 when you repeat. But at the end, when you're done, then you can just leave it with thumb. So the last two measures and repeat is that. And you get 2 beats for this, so 1, 2. So you have to consider the repeat when you are figuring out a fingering. It has to work when you repeat, and it has to work when you go on. And sometimes you'll use a different fingering based on that. Left hand, what's it doing? Well, it's here. Rest, come down during the rest. Pretty simple, I think. Rest, rest. The third line, 1, 2. Rest, rest, rest. Oh. And you think, why don't I just stay here in the third line? You know, I mean, I get it all in one hand position, and you can. However, it's a sequence. And a lot of times in piano, when we get these sequences, we want to figure all the pattern the same. So it's 1, 2, 3 on both. Again, if I got it some more, I'd keep the 1, 2, 3 fingering. And then the last line is similar to the what you had on the second line. Put the hands together, and I'm still connecting things as best I can now. It's here. And I'll put in the staccatos later. Right now, I'm playing it, everything connected. So in that second full measure, when I play the B, that comes up. So I go through and I try to get the hands put together, and then I'll go through it maybe a few measures at a time or a section at a time, and I'll work out the hesitations. In this piece, the first 2 lines is a section, the last 2 lines is a section. You can break it up that way if you need to. What you don't do, I hope, is always start at the beginning and try and play it all the way through. No. When you're learning a piece and you're practicing it and you're trying to get it, you focus on the parts of the piece that you can't play very well, that are uncomfortable to you, that you're unsure of. Focus on those. Spend your time on those. Don't keep playing the parts you can play. It's basically a waste of time in practicing. You'll set them aside. You'll be able to play them again later, no problem, but get the parts you can't play. And when you get into the interpretation side of it, that's when you can start playing it all the way through, or a section at a time, or bigger chunks. But when you're learning the notes and the rhythms and the fingering and all, just focus on the bits and pieces that are hard for you. And once I have that all, no hesitations anywhere now, then I'll add the articulation. The staccatos are short, and we'll flex the wrist on his. See that second full measure? Here. So forth. So I add in the staccatos and the slurs and all that stuff they want. Then I add the dynamics. The dynamics apply to the melody. In this case, it's the right hand. Here, moderately loud. This, soft. You have a decrescendo at the end of the second line, come down. That's all. It's just shaping the phrase. You do it anyway. You don't even need a come down arrow. You just do it. Now, on the third line, now you're moderately soft. This is a little softer than you were. This is very soft. And softer, soft. And the left hand's very soft. And 13, you're starting this soft and you're going to go up to loud. So careful. Soft, a little louder, moderately loud, loud. In the right hand. Now, a little bit back on this articulation thing. I didn't notice it before. I want to talk about it because there's different ways of interpreting it. The last 2 measures at the bottom. You have a slur, and then a staccato, and here. Some people will have a little silence between the B and the A. Here. Other people will connect the B and the A. Different ways of interpreting it. I don't know what Haydn himself said, because this has been edited, and editors get their hands on things and they change things. So I don't know which way to go for sure. My tendency would be to separate that. Just a little separation. Because if they wanted it really slurred, they could have taken the slur line all the way over to the A. Huh. So I'm going to separate it. Like that, both hands. Now back to what I was doing with dynamics. Did we finish dynamics? Close enough. Now once the dynamics are done, then we'll think about the speed. Andante, moderato. They're mixing them up again. Andante's kind of casual stroll. Moderato's in the middle. It's a range. I mean, andante and moderato can overlap. Just a gentle. Think of people dancing to this in a hoity-toity, aristocratic dances, minuet stuff, huh? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. No, I wouldn't go any faster than that. Might even go a little slower. I don't know. I wouldn't go too slow with a piano, because then it would sound better with string instruments playing this. Now the repeat signs. The repeat sign at the end of the second line sends you back to the beginning, and the repeat sign at the end sends you back to the pickup to measure 9. There is a pickup beat at the beginning. That's beat 3 of something, but if you look at the end of the second line, there's 2 counts there, so that's fine. And then the third line has another pickup beat, but if you look at the end, there's 2 counts there, so that's fine. So each section gets its own pickup beat and its own 2 beats at the end. Yeah. Remember the natural accents. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Just imagine them dancing to 1, 2. Feel these natural accents. I exaggerate them so you can hear them better. You just want to feel them. It's part of interpreting the piece. Now there is at the bottom a writ second time. Means when you're done with it, you'll slow down. That lets them know you're done, okay? And it is important that you only do it the second time, especially if people are dancing to it. You're not going to slow down in the middle. You got to keep a steady beat going. So don't slow down until the very end. Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics. We're not performing it. We're just checking notes and rhythms. We're going to do the repeats. I'll do the articulation. So I'll give us 2 counts. Ready, go. That's 2 counts. Ready, go.